We're going to make a peach margarita Italian ice that Christy's going to make, and it says that's going to have a cup of tequila in it. You don't want to overdo the alcohol. We once got some 151 grain in here from a still in Arkansas that the customer brought in. And we made vanilla, and we had it frozen down to 20 below zero, and that stuff was still as soft ice cream. It was we put so much alcohol in it. And you taste it, and you went like that because the alcohol took your breath away. The alcohol should be a flavor, not the main show. So you don't want to overdo it. You want to use it in a proper proportion, which is Jeff has got down to a science. So when we make some boozy Italian ice, you'll be able to taste the tequila, but it's not going to be overwhelming. So I'll pass Christy's formula around for that one. The regulations on alcohol, it's become so popular that the states didn't know what to do about it. Half the states were saying you have to have a liquor license, and that was ridiculous. They take years to get, and you're really not a bar. But it got more and more popular, and people were doing it whether the state liked it or not. So all of the states now that I know of have now passed a regulation, and they've come up with a level. I don't know what that number is, so I'm going to make it up. It's 5%? Okay. So if you can put 5% by volume or less, and anybody ever asks you how much you're putting in, you put in 4.2%.
That's exactly right.
And you didn't hear it here. But if it's, find out what your state limit is. If it's 3.2, then you put in 2.8. Because I can't tell you legally that they have no way of measuring it. And besides, in all honesty, you don't want to put more than that in, because then all of a sudden it becomes a drink as opposed to ice cream, refreshing ice cream. We're using it as a flavor. Oh, the last thing we did when we used the machine is we took the ice cream out of the machine. Now, the way we're set up right now, you're going to see Christy and I walk by machines and hit them. We're not saying nice dog, nice machine. We do it for a reason. Because when Christy goes to pour this formula into the machine, it's going to go all over the floor. And you're looking and you're saying, oh, the damn Emery Thompson leaks. We're going to call Steve Thompson and complain. No, it's not leaking. You left the gate open. Close the gate. The last thing you did was take the product out of the machine or rinsed it, and you left the gate open. If you leave that gate open, everything's going on the floor. It's an open door. So remember, close the gate. Just check it, go like that. Make sure your gate's closed before you start pouring in.
Okay.
If you're doing ice cream, you don't have to add anything when it comes from the dairy. It's naturally stabilized with things like guar gum and carrageenan. One is seaweed, one is a plant. So what they're doing is they're bonding the product together. Cold does that very nicely. So if you keep your product frozen solid, you don't have a problem with stabilizers. When you get to Italian ice, I don't use them because ice cream, you could throw in every chemical that Dow Chemical has ever made into the ice cream and you'll never taste it. But sugar and water, if you throw in a stabilizer, it can become very sticky and gummy. So in a store application, I'm not using any stabilizers. I'm using cold and making it fresh. If you're wholesaling, if you're going out to do the Strawberry Festival in Plant City, Florida, then you need to bring a week's worth of ice, and you need it to hold together. So there's a couple of good stabilizers that you can use. It is going to change the product, but you're also dealing with an audience that isn't your hometown, which are coming in day after day to your store and raving about your product. You've got 30,000 people passing by your cart, and you'll probably never see them again. So am I saying, are you making a slightly less product? Yes, I am. But if you need to stabilize it, iRice has a very good one called Stabilize. And you don't have to remember that. You can write me, Steve at emerythompson.com, or Christy at emerythompson.com, or call us. But it's called Stabilize, and it works for its purpose. It makes the product a little stickier and gummier, but it does the job. Also, our friend who makes natural colorings, natural dyes, like his Red Dye 40 is actually beet juice. concentrated beet juice without the taste. That's Green Mountain Flavors, and that's at our website, emerythompson.com, too. And he's got a stabilizer. I haven't tried it. I'm told it's good. But I try not to use them. Cold is the best stabilizer on earth. If you're going to go through that product this afternoon, you don't need to stabilize anything because it's going to be gone. If it's going to sit there in your cabinet for a week and a half, then you're going to be like Jeff and me. We're going to say, why are you making that flavor? It's not selling. If it doesn't sell, get rid of it.
Shots?
How much tequila did you put in?
I put a cup. We probably could a cup and a half. So notice I didn't use any water. When you work with juices, you don't have to. Juices are really great. I mean, all those Tropicana juices that you see like in the refrigerated section, those are all really great flavors. They have like pineapple mango. You can make that as an Italian ice flavor and just go get some cans of pineapple, crushed pineapple, throw that in there. We're doing peach margaritas, so I had canned peaches and then just peach juice. They don't need any water at all. The only one I have found that didn't work well at all was the lemonade. That's just too diluted. So stick with doing fresh squeezed lemons, sugar, and water.
And Christy, why that particular brand?
Well, this is just simply peach. So it's all natural, as always. We try to do that very much here. And it's just squeezed peach juice, I believe.
And they make other flavors, don't they?
Yes, they do. They have like orange juice. They have the strawberry, raspberry lemonade, flavors like that. When you work with lemonades, I have learned that using the powdered lemonades, like Country Time, that works really well whenever you wanted to make a powdered or a lemonade flavor, or give any of like a really boost in a pink color to anything. All right, I think we're good. So we have tequila in. We have our juice. We'll dump our peaches in. Gates closed. Here we go.
Now, we're the only machines on the market that you can put the alcohol into the machine. All the others you have to add as it's coming out, and it just turns it all slushy. The reason we can do it is we have so much refrigeration, such overload of refrigeration going through that freezing cylinder, making it cold, that any alcohol we want, we can put in there. It doesn't freeze the alcohol, it holds it in suspension in the ice cream or the ices.
There we go, peach margarita. There's a lot of other there's a lot of other flavors that you could do. Pineapple margaritas, mango margarita, whichever you want. We just dabble so much into doing flavors that we've never really worked with peach, so I thought that would be a really good one. Maybe even sprinkle some tahini on the top of the Italian ice, and then throw maybe a little peach slice on top. That's your choice if you want to get fancy with it, although that's totally against what Jeff says. Oh, you know what? I didn't do that. You guys didn't tell me. So we're ready to start freezing. So now we have sugar in there, we have juice in there, we have alcohol in there, and we have peaches. So what is that? Diabetes in a cup. It's a lot of sugar, right? So it's going to take a long time to freeze. So we're probably going to be pushing around the 16-minute mark. Go ahead.
I set my timer.
Oh, well, I have an internal timer.
I'm not a mom.
Smells good. One will probably argue that we could add more alcohol, and we probably could, but we don't want to overpower it because it's not a drink. You're not drinking it. You're eating it for flavor and taste. Yes?
Could this translate to ice cream?
It could. He asked the kid, it translates to ice cream. So if I was to make the ice cream, I would do exactly that except trade the juice for dairy, and then I would add like a peach Torani syrup is what I would use, and then still the peaches and the tequila. So you're swapping your juice for your dairy. You can make a sherbet, and you can add, like a 3-2-1. You can do 2 parts of a dairy, and then 1 part of the, 3 parts dairy, 2 parts of this, and then the other with your flavoring and your whatever fresh fruits, frozen fruits you wanted to add.
You had a question.
Yeah, so I hear you mention it might take a little longer. So external temperatures really do you should take into account.
You mean like
the
yes. So she asked, should you take in consideration the ambient temperature of the room for your freeze times? Absolutely. So machine won't break. It's a tank. It could be 110 degrees in here. It's still going to run. But the hotter the room is, because it needs air to breathe. It's an air-cooled machine. This one is. So the warmer the room is, the longer your batch times are going to take. And that's okay. Yes.
humidity, that's because of like for remote locations where like
Humidity into factor too, yes. But I have heard, and it also does work too, if you keep like a fan on it in the area to help keep it cooled down, to keep your ambient temperature down, that'll also help. But once again, you're not gonna break it. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to freeze.
And we're meaning a little bit by just a couple of minutes. It's not dramatic because
No.
they're built here in Florida. We have always overbuilt our machines so that they're designed to work in hot climates. It doesn't need a rest. You do, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It can run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never need a rest.
When you get to the larger floor models, they come in air or water. Typically, everybody goes with water cooled because it doesn't produce heat and it also doesn't need any space. So you can shove it against the wall, in a basement, in a hole, it doesn't matter because it just needs the water to keep cool and it comes right back out. Those that have an air cooled in a larger machine, you know, remote places that have water scarcity, or they have strict cities in California that, you know, no water consumption whatsoever, they monitor that, that's when they would go with an air cooled. So if you do choose to go floor model, water is best. Now the thing about the water cooled is they don't use water until you turn on this refrigeration. So you can wash it, clean it, have it connected to water all day long, but until you turn this on, it's not going to consume water, or until you turn that on, then once you shut it off, it stops using the water. It's like your washing machine at home. It's connected, doesn't use water until you actually do a load of laundry. Same concept. And it's clean water. It just goes in to keep it cool and it comes right back out. Some people put it into a floor drain. Some people hook it off their 3-bay sink like we do. And some probably shouldn't, but they put it out the back door to water the flowers.
One little note about the air-cooled larger machines. We're a family business, in business 121 years, my family. And the air-cooled machines are overseen by our second engineer. And his name happens to be Mickey Brown, which is the same name as Christy Brown. It's no coincidence, they're married. So we are a family business. One quick trick, I was talking to a customer earlier. Yeah, you wish. We were talking earlier about, I was talking with a customer about, we're now doing what I call ice cream Italian ices, taking the ice cream formula and turning it into Italian ice. And just real simple, let's say if an ice cream formula called for a bag of Heath, ice cream is dairy. Dairy, a glass of milk, has taste. Water has no taste. So if I want to make Heath candy bar Italian ice, I take my ice cream formula of one bag and I double it to 2 bags. Now I can make sugar and water and Heath candy bars, and I've got Heath candy bar Italian ice. Almost nobody in the world is doing that except a few of my customers. We're doing Oreo cookie Italian ice, which is unbelievably great. But it's just a fun little trick. We have hundreds of recipes at emerythompson.com and also in Christy's book and Jeff's book. And if you see any of those ice cream recipes and want to turn it into a unique Italian ice, just double the flavor. Real simple.
Any other questions about working with alcohol, Italian ices, sugar contents, anything like that?
Any CBD actually?
We do have customers that he asked, does anybody do CBD infused ice cream? Yes, we do. We do have a couple customers that do that in certain regions of the U.S. That's their thing. That's what they want to do. I don't know their process. I'm pretty sure they won't tell me anyways because it's proprietary to them. Yes, ma'am.
My was just like, I might have missed like the dairy, non-dairy conversation before I got here, but it also has to do with being remote, like, because I can't find bladder, like a dairy bladder nearby. So do you have experience or know anyone that uses coconut oil and coconut cream?
Yeah.
Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear it.
She, being in remote areas, she asked, do you have anybody that has experience working with coconut creams and coconut oils and stuff like that to make your base? Absolutely. So you could always formulate your own non-dairy ice cream base, I guess you would say. So you can use coconut creams and coconut milks and things like that. I've done it a couple times. It's really just kind of working what works best for you, but it would be probably in the CB350, about 3 quarts of coconut milk, and then probably put a couple cans or so of like the Goya coconut cream of coconut for some flavor. You can add some sugar, and then of course your fruit. It'll freeze just fine. It'll freeze well. So absolutely, you can make non-dairy bases with coconut milk.
We have videos at emerythompson.com. I started working with coconut and then later oat about 4.5 years ago. And so we have the early videos up there about that product too. It works very well.
So you guys see that beautiful peach color?
That's a great color.
Once again, we use no artificial anything, no dyes, no flavorings, no colors, no any of that.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you.
blocking the camera. You have to move to the side.
She did that
I can
already.
smell the
Yeah, well, we
tequila.
want to keep it.